What's up guys, it's Josh back with another video, and today I wanted to dive into the world of Linux based firewalls with a special focus on IPFire. And this isn't just any firewall, it's an open source solution that's tailor-made to secure your network against cyber threats we face today. So whether you're a home user looking to beef up your network security or a professional managing enterprise level networks, stick around and we'll explore what makes IPFire stand out. Alright, so I'm at IPFire.org. And IPFire is much more than your average firewall. It's a robust Linux-based operating system that's been specifically designed with network security in mind. What sets it apart is its flexibility. You can customize IPFire to perfectly match your network needs, providing a personalized shield against digital threats. Plus, it's not just a product, it's a community-driven project. And this means that constant updates and innovation for users and developers around the globe, keeping IPFire on the cutting edge of security technology. And as you can see up here at the top, on January 3rd, they released their latest version, which is 2.27. And so if you guys want to check this out, like I said, I'll have the link down in the description of the video. You can see all the changes they added to IPFire in this latest release. And also here you can check out all the documentation. They have a good source of information that can help you get it set up, as well as figure out issues that will allow it to run on your current hardware. And when I first looked at IPFire, one of the main things I looked at was the installation process. It's similar to pfSense. You need 2 network cords in whatever system you're going to run. So if it's a virtual machine, you need to add an extra virtual network cord to the system in order to get it installed. And I'll show you guys all that when we get it installed in a virtual machine. You can run it in a virtual machine, but it's recommended that you run it on physical hardware. So if you have an old computer sitting around, and this is something I used to talk about with pfSense, you can get IPFire installed and set it up to run as a full IDS, firewall, you name it. And another cool thing about it uses a web interface. You can make all your changes from the web once you go through the install and get everything set up on your network. And so let me quickly show you guys how to download it right fast. All you have to do is click the download button, and that will take you to where you can download it. They got the x86 ISO image. There's the AArch64 iOS image, also a flash image as well. And so just click on whatever you need in order to get installed for your system, and then release notes and all the good information about the actual release of IPFire. And one thing that they added to this is an email spammer blocker. This is something that they did. They created a default policy for blocking email spamming. And with all your devices running through this firewall, you can prevent a lot of spam on your network using IPFire. So if you're looking to protect your home network or fortify your business infrastructure, then IPFire has got you covered with its high performance capabilities. And so let's hop over to my virtual machine. I'll walk you guys through how to get it set up and installed. Let's get to it. Before we move forward, I wanted to give a quick shout out to CIQ, the official partner of Rocky Linux. Rocky Linux is a Linux distribution that is intended to be a downstream complete binary compatible release using the Red Hat Enterprise Linux operating system source code. The project is led by Gregory Kurtzer, who was the founder of the CentOS project. So check out Rocky Linux at ciq.co. Alright, so we booted up into the ISO, and I just wanted to show you guys the quick grub menu that pops up, but it's basically, you can select to install IPFire, which is the first selection. You got other options in here, so you can install IPFire text mode. There's an unintended installation. Under tools, you got your mem test. We're not gonna go through that. And then we got serial console options, which I'm gonna just leave that alone. We're gonna go right into the install. So let me run you guys through it right fast. It's not that difficult to install. I just want to at least show you guys how to get to it, but it'll boot right into the installation. First step is to select our language. It's already selecting English, so let me show you guys the kind of key map to this. But all you have to do is hit tab and that'll take you down to the buttons that you press. But if you go back up to the top, that's how you select, and you just press the up and down arrows. That'll select whatever you want. Hit tab and then press OK. And once you got the button selected, so let's press OK. That takes us through it. And then let's start the installation. It says welcome to IPFire installation program. You can press enter there and that'll start it off. Now this is the license for IPFire, so it's a GNU general public license. It's free and open source. Let's just go over to the side, just hit tab, and then the way you select things is by hitting the space bar. So we're gonna space and it's gonna put that asterisk there. You can tab over to OK and then press enter, and I'll go past that point. Now next thing is gonna find the hard drives of the system. It finds that one main hard drive, my one virtual disk. Just note that it will erase, so just make sure it's a disk you want to use, because it will delete all the data on there, create the partition table, and then go through the install from here. So all we got to do is press enter, and that'll start the installation after we select the file system. I forgot about this part, but you got 3 options here. So ext4 file system, you got the ext4 without journaling, you got xfs as well. So let's press enter. Well, let's press tab to take us down to OK. And then, like I said, it's going to start the installation now. So it's going to partition, gonna set everything up, set up the file system, then do the installation, also create the boot, and then we're going to go through the configuration after that. So I'll be back when it finishes. All right, so the installation is complete, and like I said, it's going to go through configuration, but one thing I wanted to point out is the website that it'll create once it boots up and we go through we finish the configuration. But it's basically IPFire and then port 443, or you could put the IP address in there, which is what I'll do because I don't think it'll work on my network by typing in the name, but you can type in the name, and then it has to be secure as well, so HTTPS, so just make sure it's secure when you type it in. So let's go down and press enter, and that'll get us rebooted, and then once it comes up, I'll walk you guys through the configuration. All right, so we have the configuration. First thing is setting up our keyboard. I'm going to use US, press tab, go down to OK, press enter. Now the next thing is our time zone, and I believe this operating system or this Linux distro is created out of Europe. That's why it defaulted to somewhere in Europe. So I got to go all the way up to the top to get to America to set the time zone. But just look for your country and time zone, most likely city, and that's the easiest way to get it. I'm on Pacific Standard Time, so I'm looking for Los Angeles. So got to go a little further up. There we go, past it. So just make sure it's selected, hit the tab button, it'll take you down to OK, and that'll make sure you select Los Angeles as the time zone or whatever time zone you select. Now set up your machine host name. So the default is IPFire. You can name it whatever you want. So I'm gonna just leave the default. So I'm gonna hit tab, press OK. Boom, and then our local domain, we can leave that, or you can change it if you have a local domain or a domain on your local network. You can select that. So I'm gonna just leave it on local domain, that's fine. Let's press OK. Now IPFire has 2 user accounts that it will create. It'll create a root account, which allows you to log into the command line, and then it will create a admin account. And the admin account is for logging into the GUI web interface. So you have to set a password for both of those. So just wanted to point this out. One thing, it's gonna blink like this. You're not gonna see it typing in anything right here. And that's the same for the second line as well. So let's go on and type it in. I know you guys can't see that I'm typing it in, but I'm typing it in. And I hit the tab button and go to the next line, type it in again. And it will verify if you typed it in properly. If you type it in wrong, it'll pop up and say the passwords don't match and get you to type it in again. So just letting you guys know, just in case you see that and you're like, why is it not typing anything? It's not going to show anything. All you're going to see is that blinking cursor. So let's get the admin account set up as well. And then let me go back up there and read it once I type it in, but it says enter IPFire admin user password. This is a user to use for logging into IPFire web administration pages. So just so you guys know, that's the account you use to log into the GUI. And then the root account is what you use to log into the command line. And that's once the system is done configuring. I'll show you guys how to log in there, and then we'll go over to the GUI and then we can get that set up. Now, let's get this set up. This is our network configurations. This is the most important part. You're basically setting up your network interfaces. And basically the current configuration is green red, and you'll see what I'm talking about once we go under network configuration type, because there are multiple types. So if we go in here, just want to show it to you. Green is your internal network, red is the external network, so the internet. Red is internet, green is your internal network. And just to talk about the others, they got green, red, orange. So orange is your demilitarized zone, so that's your DMZ. And then green, red, blue, that's for your Wi-Fi. And then you got your fourth configuration type, and that includes them all. So like I said, we're gonna go with the green red, which it'll just be an internal or external interface. And essentially you just want to make sure you have the right cables plugged into the system. So you got your external, you know, and then your internal cable. And if you set the wrong interface within here, all you gotta do is switch the cables, you know, you'll be good to go. So let's press enter there, and then let's go to the next step, which is setting our cords. And this is the important part that I was talking about with the cables. So you got to make sure you select the right interface for, you know, your green network and your red network. So let's press enter, and you want to make sure it should show something different if you have two different cords in there. Mine shows the exact same, it just has a MAC address that's different because it just generates a fake MAC address for the virtual network cord that's in this virtual machine. So you want to just make sure you're setting it up proper. So all you have to do is select the one for the green interface. As you can see, we're on green right now, so I'm gonna just use the first one, but you want, like I said, you want to make sure you select the right one. So let's press enter, and then for our red, let's press enter, and then we can select that remaining interface. So let's press enter, and so now we got both of our network interfaces or our cords assigned to whatever network they're gonna run. And then let's just go down, hit tab, 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 and let's go over to done, and that'll complete that, you know, assignment of the cord. So let's press enter, and then we can go back to our address settings. Now this is an important step as well. So you want to set up your internal and external IP addresses. So let's press enter. It's going to start with the green, so this is your internal. So if you want, this is basically setting up your internal network. And so let's go down and press enter. We can go in there, and what it's going to do, if you change this IP address and you're logged in remotely, you can't connect to it, you know, yada yada yada. It's just basically just letting you know that this internal IP address is going to be set. So let's press enter, and then type in our IP addresses. And I have a couple of IP addresses set aside for this. So 192.168.10.11. Now this kind of won't make sense because these addresses are typically different, you know what I'm saying, because your internet provider, your ISP, is going to give you an IP address most likely. So that'll be your red network, and then this will be something like 192.168.10.1 or 1.1. That's like the default, you know, IPs that people use on their network. That's the default that comes on like routers and stuff like that, that you use in your house. So you want to set it up to something like that, but I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna just put 192.168.10.11 because I know that's an open IP address on my network. So I'm just setting something up. I'm not really gonna, because if I change it to a different network, I'm not gonna be able to connect to it unless I connect to it directly. But let's go down and press OK there. And then for our red network, you can set a static IP address or you can use DHCP. Like I said, most of the time on the red interface, you'll probably get an IP address from your ISP. So that's why they had a DHCP option in there, because you'll most likely get that. Or sometimes you'll get a static IP address from your ISP. You can set that in there as well. So let's just go down, set our IP address for it, 192.168.10.11. No, let's do 10, I'm sorry. And then our gateway for that, and they're going to give you all this information, your ISP, or if this is like a, I don't know, an internal, or if you already have like something running DHCP, then you can get it like what I'm getting, how I'm getting it. But let's say your green network is a different, you know, network altogether. That's what you kind of want it to be, its own network. That's the whole purpose of this thing. And then everything within that network is protected by the firewall. All right, so hit tab, press OK, and then we are good to go. So all we had to do is tab over to done, and that sets up our address configuration. So let's go down to the bottom and hit done, and that'll allow us to move on past this step. And the next step is actually setting up a DHCP server for this server right here. So if you want DHCP ran, which most likely you do, if it's on a separate network, you want it to assign IP addresses, or if you have something else that you wanted to assign IP addresses, then you can leave this off, which is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna leave it off because it'll conflict with my DHCP server that's already out here on my network. So I'm gonna just leave that off. I'm gonna go down to OK and then press enter. But as you can see, it's based on the IP address you set for the green network. So this will be like 192.168.1.1. It's a 1.1 network, and then you can tell it what addresses to store it, what addresses to end. And actually, let me go back up here to the top so you guys can see, but I'm gonna select it right fast and it'll open it up, and you can type in all your IP addresses. And most of the time, the primary DNS server is gonna be your DHCP server as well, so that's why I'd automatically put that in there. But you got a lot of options in here as far as the leases, the max lease, you know, and all that good stuff. So let's go back up to the top, deselect that because I don't want to set up DHCP, but let's go down and press OK there, and that is pretty much it for the setup. And so let's go through. It'll finish booting up the system, configuring everything for us, and then let me show you guys how to log into it at that point. All right, so let me show you guys how to log into the command. Like I said, it's root, and then we type in our password that we set during the installation or the configuration. So let's press enter there, and that'll get us into our system. And there are a couple different ways you can, or a couple different things you can do in here. I don't recommend you do much here. You know what I'm saying? You can do updates. You can also connect to the GUI interface from the command line. There's a built-in tool for you. It's called elinks. So just to show you guys that, but you can type elinks, press enter, and right here is just an SSL error. You'll see that in the browser once we bring it up, but all you have to do is hit yes to retry without verification, and then you have your login page right there, which is what we're going to go to in the browser. I just want to show you guys here, but then you can log in using your admin password at this point. And you can do a couple changes here as well. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just basically quit elinks. So all I did was press Q, that'll quit elinks. And now let's go over to our browser right fast so I can show you guys the GUI. And let's open up a new tab, and all we have to do is type 192.168.10.11, I believe. And then we got to put our port, which is 444, and let's press enter. And it's gonna give us a bad request because right here it's not typing in the https:// it's using the non-secure link. So let's type it in fully. There we go. So we are at the site, and like I said, I only did it this way. I didn't put it on a different network because I wasn't gonna be able to connect to the GUI if I didn't do it this way. So let's hit proceed. It's gonna pop up actually to log in. So that admin account and then our admin password, whatever we set for it, press OK, and there we go. So now we're into IPFire, and you can go through this, you know, make all your changes from here, you know, all that good stuff. So it gives you on the main page, it gives you just a breakdown of everything right now. There's a lot of options in here. I'm not going to go through them all, but you got your mail service. Like I said, that was added in to help you with mail SSH access. So that allows you to connect to it via SSH. You have to open ports, backups, GUI settings. So I can show you a little bit of that. But like I said, I'm not going to go through everything, but this system information, hardware vulnerabilities, let's see, shutdown. You can shut down, you can restore the server, you can reboot and run a file system check. So you can go into status, that gives you information about the system. You can check out logs, CPU, memory, let's see, media, that's the VDA. For some reason it's not looking at my drive properly, but that's fine. It shows your, and like I said, I'm running this in a virtual machine. You're supposed to run this on physical hardware. It's recommended, so that may be why it's having issues. But network issue, network internal, network external, network other, open VPN, net to net statistics, hardware graph. Let's go up in there, hardware graph. It's not going to show anything. Connections, so it shows you all your connections, and you can check it out. You know, you can see everything that's going on here, the IP addresses of the sources, you know, all that stuff. So net traffic, it has a pie chart and a lot of information in here on your system, your traffic. MD stat, let's go down here, check that out. It's not showing anything right now. Let's see, network. So you can make changes here. Network configuration, zone configuration, domain name settings. So DNS server, if you have one, you can add that in there. DNS configuration, proxies. Like I said, it's so much stuff in here. URL filtering, update accelerator, DHCP server. So this is allow you to go in and set up your DHCP server. So if you don't do it, you know, during the install or the configuration, you can go in here and make your changes here as well. Captive portal, connection scheduler, you know, edit host, DNS forwarding. So if you want to forward your DNS request to another server, static routes, we can go in there, but it's not going to show anything because we don't have anything set up. Aliases, assign MAC addresses, wake on LAN, services, so IPsec, OpenVPN. You can set up a VPN server, dynamic DNS. That way, you know, you can set up to where you have a domain pointed here and it'll update the DNS, you know, using or dynamically. So if something changes, if your IP address changes, then, you know, it'll update. Time server, like I said, it's just so much stuff here, man. Quality of service, extra hard drive. Let's see, firewall. So this is the most important or the highlight of this actual server, IPFire, and that's setting up your firewall. So you got your rules, groups. It's kind of hard to go through a lot of this because I don't have anything set up. Intrusion prevention, so ID or IPS firewall option, IP address block list, blue access location block, so you could block things by location. Like I said, it's a firewall. You can do pretty much anything to block traffic on this thing. So IPFire, let's see, PackFire. I'm trying to remember what this is. Oh, you got your configuration for PackFire, and then you also have available add-ons for it. So you can go through here and look at all this. They got, you know, a lot of cool little tools, 7-zip, DD cups, dbus, FFmpeg is crazy. GhostScript. Let's see, in logs, this is good to see. You know, you got a whole bunch of logs that will, you know, show up on the server once you start getting traffic on it. Log settings, proxy logs, proxy reports, firewall logs. So that's important. You know, your firewall logs, firewall log graph by IP, ports, countries, and this is all good information. Your IPS logs, your IP address block list logs, OpenVPN, Road Warrior connection logs, URL filter logs, and system logs. So this is for the system right here. All right, and that wraps up our look at IPFire. This powerful, customizable, community-driven firewall offers a level of security that adapts to your needs. Remember, a secure network is a happy network. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the KeepitTechie channel for more tech reviews, Linux reviews, and tips. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and of course, keep it techie.